Welcome to Just a Minute. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, my name is Nicholas Parsons, and as the minute waltz fades away, once more it's my huge pleasure to welcome our many listeners, not only in this country, but around the world, but also to welcome to the program four most exceptionally talented personalities. And once again, I'm going to ask them to speak on the subject that I give them, and they will try and do that without hesitation, repetition, or deviation. And they are seated on my right, Paul Merton and Julian Clary, and seated on my left, David Tennant and Stephen Fry. Please welcome all four of them. For those regular listeners, you will have heard that we have three veteran players of the game, and one newcomer who's never played it before, the virgin player, David Tennant. We welcome him with a special welcome. Yes.
Please be gentle with me.
And beside me sits Hayley Sterling, who's going to help me with the score, and she will blow the whistle when the 60 seconds have elapsed. And we're going to begin the show this week with Paul Merton. Paul, a lovely subject, a banana skin. Tell us something about a banana skin in this game, starting now.
Well, in the world of slapstick, banana skin has always been the fruit of the day. I
think he slipped on some sort of banana skin.
Yes,
I stopped.
You stopped. Well, Stephen, that was a correct challenge of hesitation. So you get a point for that, of course. You take over the subject, and there are 54 seconds available. A banana skin, starting now.
Well, the savoury vegetable, the plantain, is the banana's kin, but I suppose the question really related to the skin of a banana on which comic people sometimes slip. They say, don't they, that the more solemn you are, the more amusing the joke.
Julian, challenge.
Repetition of more.
Oh, yes.
Clever.
Clever, yes. We often avoid thee and Anne, but not that one. So, Julian, you have a correct challenge and a point for that, of course. And there are 38 seconds available. A banana skin, starting now.
There's nothing worse, is there, than slipping up on a banana skin?
Stephen, challenge.
I think nuclear war is worse than slipping on a banana skin. He said there was nothing worse.
I mean, to him, there may be nothing worse.
Really?
To you, there may be worse things. I can think of many things.
I feel a fool now. I'm so sorry.
No, you're not. But that was an incorrect challenge, so Julian has another point. And there are 34 seconds. A banana skin, Julian, starting now.
I was walking down Old Compton Street recently, and before I knew it, I was flat on my back with my legs in the air, and it was a banana skin that was to blame. I understand it has some sort of metaphorical meaning, as in there may be a political banana skin, examples of which you can make up for yourselves. But I prefer to focus on the fruit itself. I once nibbled on the actual skin of a banana, and I can't say I enjoyed it. It stuck to the roof of my mouth, and
You were going so well, and there's only 5 seconds to go. And Paul, you challenge first.
It was a hesitation.
It was a hesitation, and so you've got it back, and you have 5 seconds, starting now.
Smoking banana skins in San Francisco in the 1960s with Nicholas Star Child Parsons.
Stephen Fry, will you take the next round, or begin the next round? I mean, if the subject is the great American novel, we can be quite erudite on this show. Will you talk on the subject? Yes, please write it down if you want to.
Definitely.
60 seconds, as usual, starting now.
Well, the great American novel is really a paradigm, a platonic form. Many believe it doesn't exist. It's something to which you should strive, though there are candidates for the great American novel. Nathaniel Hawthorne's Scarlet Letter, for example, is an early one. Then there's Moby Dick by Herman Melville, and of course, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. You shouldn't forget For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway, nor indeed...
Julian, challenge.
not one of my favourites.
You haven't got a challenge within the rules of Just a Minute, do you?
No, of course not, no.
Yeah, right. Well, what I sometimes do in this show, if we enjoy an interruption and gets a very good laugh, we give them a bonus point. And I think that deserved a bonus point, Julian. But you get a point for being interrupted, Stephen.
Oh,
and you
exciting.
have 33 seconds still available. The great American novel starting now.
Oh, my lordy. Some would say USA by John Dos Passos is also a great American novel. Others would put forward the claims of, for example, Catch-22, and perhaps also Lemony Snicket's work. I wouldn't myself, though Neil Stephenson's Cryptonomicon, others would also advance.
Julian challenge.
Repetition of others.
Yes, you did say
Yeah,
others before.
you're probably
Yes,
right.
I think you said it more than once, actually. So, Julian, you had a correct challenge again, and there are 13 seconds available, and the subject is the great American novel, starting now.
The great American novel has to be not only a novel, not only great.
In like a flash, right. Stephen, your
Yes,
challenge.
repetition of not, and indeed repetition of only.
Yes, okay, right, everything. 9 seconds for you still available, Stephen. The great American novel, starting now.
Perhaps the great American novel is being written now.
Julian challenge.
Repetition of perhaps.
Yes, you did say perhaps before.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Does-
Julian, there are 5 seconds. And you have the great American novel starting now.
Let's focus on Moby Dick thrashing around in the ocean. What a marvellous story of that great...
Right, so at the end of that round, let me give the scores. I haven't been doing that. Julian's taken the lead. He's 3 points ahead of Stephen Fry and also with Paul Merton. David's yet to score, but David, you're going to begin the next round. And the subject is a lovely one. Exit pursued by a bear. I don't know if you know where that comes, but it doesn't matter. Try and talk on the subject, starting now.
Antigonus, in the third act of Shakespeare's late romance, The Winter's Tale, I believe it might be scene 3, brings the baby Perdita to a blasted hillside and leaves her, says something about going and never returning, and then exits pursued by a bear, possibly the most famous direction in theatrical history. I should say infamous because, of course, William of Stratford left actors and directors for centuries to come struggling with the dilemma of how you stage this. Do you just put the youngest member of the company in a big hairy suit and have him waggle his rubber claws at someone? Or does that puncture the drama of the moment somewhat? Do you have to do it more expressionistically, perhaps a sound effect or something with a stage technology being used to create the image for the audience in the mind? You would imagine that bill of...
Well, David, I
Can I leave now before I ruin my record?
A newcomer coming on and playing this very difficult game. We make it sound easy for the listeners and everybody, but it is very difficult. And you've gone on your first attempt for 60 seconds without being interrupted or saying repetition, hesitation, or deviation. Well done. And you get a point for not being interrupted and a bonus point for going for the full length of time.
Get in!
I think you can relax now, David. Right.
It can only be downhill.
All right. Julian, it's your turn to begin. And the subject now is the banyan tree. We've got some quite erudite subjects, haven't we, this week? And your 60 seconds is available, starting now.
What a lovely tree it is. There's great big roots trailing around like hair, reaching towards the ground. People believe in certain exotic countries that spirits live inside the banyan tree. And as you pass said tree, you're not allowed to say anything rude or raise your voice. You have to be polite. Otherwise, you might disturb the inhabitants and they'll come and get you and make your life a misery. The banyan tree is also the name of an Indian restaurant somewhere in the Midlands, about which I know very little, but I did pass through recently and I tried their ladies' fingers. They also have the gentleman's variety, if you know what I'm saying. You have to ask the correct waiter. But I enjoyed it. My cheeks were bulging by the time I left that particular establishment. But let's return to the banyan tree. There is one in the centre of most villages in India, and people gather round of an evening and chat about the days of their...
Well, that has never happened before, as far as I know. Successive rounds of someone going for the full 60 seconds without being interrupted.
What's going on?
Yes.
And what's going on? Talent is shining through and coming to the surface, which it often does in this show. And Julian, you kept going to the whistle when, get a point for that, of course, and another point for not being interrupted. So what's the situation at the end of that round? And I will tell you. Oh, Julian's increased his lead over Stephen Fry, David Tennant, and Paul Merton in that order. We're back with you to begin, actually, Paul. Oh, the subject now, hallelujah. Tell us something about hallelujah.
I think we'll be getting 3 1 minutes in a row here.
Hallelujah, starting now.
Hallelujah is a general exclamation of something wonderful happening. Hallelujah, I scored the winning goal in the FA Cup final. Hallelujah, I've won Britain's Got Talent. Me and my performing tortoise, Roger the Extraordinary. Hallelujah is a word which you often see at the beginning of... There was a film once called Hallelujah, I'm a Bum, starring Al Jolson in the 1930s. It was set in the Great Depression. The words and music...
Stephen Challenge.
That's actually the third time he's used the word, but I thought I'd let the
sure,
first
fair
one
enough.
go. But
Yeah,
3 is too much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Stephen, I said too much. It sounded a bit pompous there.
I'm so quite right. I'm so sorry.
Not at all. I had
I've
to
been
remark
bitch slapped by Nicky.
I had to remark on it because I thought he might get a laugh. And it was correct. So correct challenge, Stephen. There are 36 seconds available. Hallelujah, with you starting now.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. The Hallelujah Chorus is an amazing piece of music scored by Handel, of course, Georg Friedrich of that name, in the 1740s for an oratorio that he wrote, which was first performed in Dublin. They say King George II on the performance in London rose to his feet during the Hallelujah Chorus because... Oh, yes.
David Challenge.
Repetition of chorus.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Now, can I just check the rules? Am I now allowed to say the word chorus, or is the word chorus now verboten for the whole round?
No.
You haven't spoken, so you can say anything at the moment.
I
You
can
haven't
say
spoken,
anything,
you can
okay.
say whatever you like. You can repeat word for word what he's just said. If you like. Yes, Paul.
Repetition of chorus.
Hasn't started yet.
Are we starting, Joe? Okay.
No.
Just for the benefit of new listeners, it's good to revise the rules now and again, isn't it?
Yeah.
And new players, frankly.
No, we're not revising them. That is the rule.
I've just been going over them.
going over
Reviewing,
them.
sorry.
Reprising them, right.
I'm getting picked up between rounds now.
60, yeah, I'm being pompous now, I'm sorry. 16 seconds available, David. Hallelujah, starting now.
When I was 12 in Ralston Primary School, a very ambitious music teacher decided to teach a bunch of us the Hallelujah Chorus in 5-part harmony. I'm sure it was something of a caterwaul, but it was very extraordinary that he tried.
So, David Tennant was in speaking as a whistle when gained that extra point. And he's equal now with Stephen Fry in second place, just ahead of Paul Merton and just behind Julian Clary, who is still our leader. And Stephen, it's your turn to begin. Well, this is a challenge. I'm sure you're up to it. Iambic pentameter.
Oh, Lord.
You can feel the frisson in the audience as it goes round. Wonder what will he do with it? I'm sure he'll tell us. 60 seconds as usual, starting now.
I rang someone on the telephone many years ago and heard a message that said, "I'm sorry I can't take your call right now, but leave us something on the phone after." And
David Challenge.
I think that was a bit of a hesitation, Stephen.
But it was just a ramble rather than a hesitation.
Right, okay.
But it could be interpreted as a hesitation.
I don't want to
By a
get
bad
cocky.
judge.
I'm new.
Now, what I sometimes do, David, when it's difficult to judge, I say, I give you the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
And give it to you. But if I can redress the balance later, Stephen,
Well, thank
I will
you.
give it to you. Right.
I'm sorry. I hope you're not offended.
It's this is how to get.
I'm not sure that you
playing
want
well,
the subject,
how it
actually.
should be played.
Wow.
Iambic pentameter. And there are 47 seconds starting now.
Richard II is the only play by Shakespeare written entirely in iambic pentameter. No gobbets of prose to be seen anywhere. Now, why should that be? Is it because iambic pentameter is the language of royalty? Certainly there are gardeners in that play who also speak in
Stephen, challenge.
He said the only play, and Gardner's in that play.
Yes, there are two plays there. Yes, well, listen,
Touché.
So, Stephen, you've got it back without a benefit of the doubt. 27 seconds available. Iambic pentameter starting now.
Iambic pentameter is composed of 5 disyllabic feet. Iambs, they're also known as, which are scudding.
Paul, challenge.
A repetition of known, also known as. Did we have that twice? Or was I dreaming
think
it?
so.
No, it obviously wasn't, no. Sorry about that. And to be honest, I've just had a look at the subject again, so I'm very happy not to have it. So.
Well, I give the benefit of the doubt to Stephen. I said I would return it if it's possible, and you still have the subject. 16 seconds, iambic pentameter starting now.
Sometimes it's easier to demonstrate than to relate, so I shall show. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds to...
Julian, challenge.
2 Moors.
Two more.
Oh, yes, sorry.
You chose.
I was relying on Shakespeare not to be so bad at this game.
Yes. That's 3 seconds you've got in with Julian to go. And you tell us something about iambic pentameter starting now.
There was a young lady from Ealing who had a peculiar...
Julian Clary was then speaking as a whistle went, gained an extra point, has increased his lead at the end of that round, ahead of Stephen Fry and David Tennant to Paul Merton in that order. David, it's your turn to begin. We're back with you. The subject is, it's in the stars. Tell us something about that subject in this game starting now.
One of the tropes of modern life that infuriates me more than many others is the faux science of astrology. It's in the stars, some caftan-wearing lunatic will proclaim in newspaper columns or premium rate phone lines. It's in the stars. No, it's not. It's in your head. I'm a Capricorn. I must like cheese. Sagittarius, hats are my thing. The notion that the hour of your birth should predetermine who you are and what you may be prone to like is so fallacious as to make my skin crawl. And
Well, Paul Chandler, I must say, David, your natural delivery is so deliberate that you are ideal to play this game. And because it's so consistent. Paul, challenge, yes.
Yes, hesitation.
It was hesitation,
All
yes.
right.
And you've got him with 19 seconds to go on. It's in the stars starting now.
There's a Cole Porter song that has a couplet something like, it's in the stars, next July we collide with Mars, from the show High Society, I believe. Now, in the stars, if we look at the people who lived in the past, for example, Henry VIII, Mozart, Charlie Chaplin, Nicholas Parsons, there's something that we can pick out which is a current thing. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Didn't show though, did it?
Right, they wait for that send-up of Nicholas Parsons from Paul in every show, right. And it came there very cleverly. Paul, you got another point for speaking as the whistle went, and you've moved forward. You're still in 4th place, but you move forward, right. But only 1 or 2 points separates all of them. And Julian, it's your turn to begin. Oh, this is a lovely one. The dressing up box. Tell us something about the dressing up box. 60 seconds starting now.
It's funny the things you do at a formative age and how that may shape your future. Because when I was a child, there was a girl upstairs, I think her name was Julie, and she had a dressing up box, and I was invited up there, and I would dive in, and she had all sorts of pearls and silks and satins and netting, and the pair of us would cavort around the balcony and occasionally on the lawns if it was summer. And that's...
Paul, you challenged.
Hesitation, sadly.
Hesitation, yes, correct. 33 seconds are still available, Paul. The dressing up box starting now.
As I pulled on the stovepipe hat and the false whiskers, I'd realised I'd be stalking the streets as Gladstone again. It could have been 1888 as the fog...
Oh, Stephen challenged.
No, it's fine. Sorry, I thought there were too many 8s, but there weren't.
There weren't. No, it's perfect.
It was a trap for me, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a trap, yeah. He's played the game an awful lot.
Yes.
And incorrect challenge, Paul, another point to you. 28 seconds available. The dressing up box starting now.
My alter ego is Lulu McIntyre. I often walk around the... Oh, I've said streets before.
Julian, you challenge first.
Well, I don't know if it was repetition or sort of hesitation, combination of the two. I'll go for repetition.
Of what?
Yeah.
Often.
he actually hesitated.
I said hesitation as well.
Did you? Anyway, the benefit of the doubt, even if it's not correct, 23 seconds for you on the dressing up box starting now.
My favourite garment was her mother's wedding dress, and indeed went through a bit of a ceremony with Glenn up the road. And Congress were involved. Don't know why you're looking at me like that. And it was very moving. And so the dressing up box, as I matured, decided to make my future in show business, I naturally thought, well, it's lycra is the way to go. And I have...
So, Julian Clare was then speaking again with the whistle went, has increased his lead ahead of the other three, and the other three are all equal in second place, quite a few points behind actually. Ooh. And Stephen, it's your turn to begin. Oh, the sitar. Can you tell us something about the sitar in this game starting now?
Well, the sitar is a stringed instrument up to 18, 19 or 20 strings, I believe, strung...
Julian challenge.
It's 18. Just so you know.
You can have 20-string sitars.
You can shut up.
What was your challenge, Julian?
No, I wasn't. I was just...
Oh, yeah, right. Well, do I give you a bonus point? Was it good enough for that? I don't know.
Yeah,
right, the audience have decided.
Yeah.
They are the final.
He's not far enough ahead.
And... Stephen, you still have the subject.
Oh, Lord.
And having got a point across,
Yes.
The sitar starting now.
Good, I believe, is the fruit that forms the back of original sitars in the modern age. Ravi Shankar was a man who really caused a great influential stream of people to play the instrument, including George Harrison, of course, on Within You and Without Thee. And there was Painted Black, which the Rolling Stones did at a sitar. Norwegian Wood, the Beatles, I think that also...
Julian challenge.
You've had wood twice.
Yes.
My usual problem...
To be honest, it's a very exciting recording.
I got wood twice, exactly. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
That was a correct challenge. Another point to you, Julian. And 31 seconds available. The sitar starting now.
When I was mastering the 18-string sitar, the question was, shall I pluck or shall I strum? And my instructor said that with my fingers, the former was the way forward. So, there we have it.
Paul, your challenge.
Well, it was sort of in conclusion, really, wasn't it? Got a bit of a hesitation.
I think we'll give you the benefit of the doubt and say yes. And so, another point to you, Paul. And there are 17 seconds. Can you tell us something about the sitar starting now?
Famously, when Ravi Shankar was supporting George Harrison in a tour of America in the 1970s, while he was tuning up, the audience applauded because they didn't realise that actually he hadn't started playing any music. But that was because they weren't familiar at that point with the Indian cadences and indeed the chromatic scale, which is a completely different thing than what we have over here.
So let me give you the score at the end of that round, and I have to tell you, we're moving into the final round. I'm glad you feel like that. I think we're winning. Oh, it's very interesting. Julian Clary, who took the lead early on, has sustained that. He's still in the lead. He's 4 or 5 points ahead of Paul Merton, and almost the same. Stephen's almost equal with them. And only 3 or 4 points behind that is David Tennant, who, of course, hasn't played the game before. And it's also his turn to begin. Oh, we've had quite a bit of Shakespeare in this show, and we've got some more now. David, the subject now is Falstaff. 60 seconds available, starting now.
Sir John Falstaff, the Jolly Fat Knight, appears in 3 of Shakespeare's plays, King Henry IV, parts 1 and indeed 2, and then latterly in The Merry Wives of Windsor, apparently written because Queen Elizabeth was so taken with the character when she saw him in his first plays that she wanted to see him in love. So Falstaff was pitted against Mistress Page and the other one. It's quite hard to...
Stephen challenge.
Ford. Ford is the other one.
Thank you. The facts desert you in the white heat of all this.
So, Stephen, we give you a bonus point for a good reaction there, a good laugh. But you were interrupted, David.
I was.
So you get a point for that.
Thank you. I need all the ones I can take.
Yes, right. Well, you've got 26 seconds to go on Falstaff, starting now.
Ralph Richardson was, of course, a very famous Falstaff. Simon Russell Beale more recently won a BAFTA for his portrayal, and Sir Anthony Sher is currently
Stephen Challenge.
It's repeated as Sir John Falstaff and Sir Anthony.
I'm not talking about Tony Sher without giving him his just desserts. Take it up with the Royal Shakespeare Company and Her Majesty. Thank you very much, Mr. Stephen Fry.
Stephen, if I was to give you the point on the subject, it wouldn't make any difference to the final score. So I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to David, because he's been going so fantastically, and he's new.
I may have nothing left to say, to be honest with you.
Well, keep going, and they'll finish up equal with the others. And 16 seconds available, Falstaff starting now.
16 seconds suddenly stretches ahead like a very long and difficult road to traverse, but I will attempt because...
Paul Challenge.
It's not 16 seconds anymore. The road's got much shorter.
Thank you.
9 seconds still available. To you, another point, of course. Falstaff starting now.
In fact, Falstaff was originally called Old Castle, but that was based on an actual human being, and his family objected that the Bard of Avon was making light of his...
So the final score. Oh, it's so fair and so equal, because we have 3 in second place. Paul Merton, Stephen Fry, and David Tennant. So a big round of applause for those 3, but 4 points ahead. In the lead was Julian Clary. Started with the lead, kept the lead, and so we say, Julian, you are our winner this week. So we have no more time to play this lovely game. It only remains to say thank you to these 4 delightful and talented players of the game: Paul Merton, Julian Clary, David Tennant, and Stephen Fry. I thank Hayley Sterling for the way she's helped me with the score. And we are, of course, indebted to Ian Messiter, who created this amazing game. And we're indebted to our producer, to Lucy Gilani. So from them, from me, Nicholas Parsons, and this lovely audience here, thank you. Tune in again the same time when we play Just a Minute.
And at the same time next week, Paul Merton, Tony Hawk,